Three major red flags that you must never, ever ignore. Number one, you're getting to know someone and they are not asking questions about you and your life. Look, most people don't have the greatest social skills. And so it's kind of common to be on a date with someone and they're not asking you a lot of questions or they're not asking you interesting questions. And also, the first date, people are nervous. But if we're going to the second, third date, or you're actually spending regular time with someone, like you're dating them, and they don't have any interest in your past, they don't have any interest in your family, they're not asking you questions about your hobbies or the things that you love to do or the work that you do or your friends, that is a huge red flag because what it means is that they are just not interested in you. They might be attracted to you. They might be bored and wanting someone to hang out with. They might be wanting to sleep with you, but they're not actually interested in getting to know you. Because when we value someone, we actually want to know their story. We want to know the people in their lives. We want to know what makes them happy. We want to know what makes them sad. We are actually curious about them. So if you're hanging out with someone and they're showing no curiosity about you, your life, your inner world, huge red flag, run. Number two, everything is someone else's fault. They talk about their ex-partner in a way that makes it so that they are completely victimized. Like, look, sometimes we get into relationships with people who are not that nice. And if we're actually telling a true account of the story that we had with this person, we will feel like, we were really wronged. That's different than just making everything everyone else's fault. You can say, look, I had a very difficult relationship with someone. They weren't really that nice to me, but I took time to reflect and I had to learn a lot of hard truths about why I chose this person or some of the things that it brought out in me. Anything that shows some accountability and some self-reflection. If you meet someone and their ex is crazy or a narcissist or this or that, and they show no signs of any self-reflection, even after you ask them this really important question, you ask them, what did you learn from that? And let's say their answer is, well, no one can be trusted, or, narcissists are this way, or I have the worst taste in people. That's not the answer you are looking for. The answer you're looking for is something within the range of, well, I had to take a really hard look at myself, or I realized, that I had a very troubled relationship with one of my parents and it comes out this way in my adult relationships. Or I realized that I added to some of the dysfunction that was in that relationship. Again, you're looking for accountability. If someone has no accountability and all they do is trash the people in their life or trash their exes, that is a huge red flag because eventually you are going to be the person that they speak badly about. And then whenever you're in an argument with them, they're never going to be able to pause and reflect and take some accountability. And accountability is one of the most important relationship skills that exists. Number three, they cannot control their temper. They have a huge temper and it's also uncontrollable. Look, none of us are walking around with our emotions always regulated. I'm not always regulated. It's impossible to always be regulated. Our nervous system is wired to experience ups and downs and sideways. We're not supposed to be just in one parasympathetic state all the time. We are going to react in life. We are going to get excited. We're going to get sad. We're sometimes going to feel peaceful. But you want to have some tools to be able to regulate yourself, ground yourself when you are very triggered, when you are very angry. And so if you are seeing someone and they are in constant reaction and you see them have a really big temper, and they don't know how to control it, or they even admit to you that they have a huge temper. Like, I'll never forget years, and I mean, this was years ago. It was much, much, much younger. I was in my 20s. And I started seeing someone who admitted to me, this was in the first 3 weeks of us dating, and we went, from 0 to 60 really quickly, as you do when you're younger. And, everything was bliss. And he one day just admitted to me very nonchalantly, we were like in the bathroom, brushing our teeth, getting ready. And he said, yeah, I have a really big temper. And I looked at him and I thought, really? That's so strange. I can't even imagine that. And I felt in my body that is not good. But of course, being who I was back then, I just didn't listen. And it turned out that temper was eventually turned towards me. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who has a temper that you know is going to be abusive towards you, but there is still a pretty big likelihood that that could happen. And either way, we want to be ourselves, and we want to be in relationships with people who can control themselves. Because a huge red flag is someone who has no self-control. So those are 3 red flags that are completely non-negotiable. So if you're with someone and you feel like there's a red flag that's coming up, it's not like you have to immediately run for the hills, but you can ask follow-up questions and say, look, this happened, this concerned me, what's going on? Or, look, I realized that you said a lot of things about your ex, but I don't really see any self-reflection. Like, did you learn anything from it? We can give people that chance at the very beginning just to explore, but you have to be incredibly discerning. And if these 3 things come up ever in your dating process with someone, pay attention.